So guys, as we were reading in the comments, we apparently killed many of your ideal Opus 109s. In this video we're not only going to apologize for that, but to explain to you why.
Be ready. Okay.
It's a little bit ironic, this title, guys. I hope you see that we didn't kill your Opus 109, but apparently you had something in mind. Reading your comments on the Opus 109, we used, because we had a conversation about that, kind of a lot of inequality in this piece. And you asked why. And in a way, we kind of killed your way, the way in which you were used to hear that piece probably often. This new way of playing, because it's a new way of playing, inequality, deserved a video, because not that we wanted to explain ourselves, but we wanted to tell you why we did this, and why this is also part of the future of the recordings we're going to do. Okay, Alberto, go ahead.
So guys, reading your comment section, I was a little bit surprised by some of the things that you said and of the questions that you even asked. For example, if I...
Let's say you were shocked that people thought you couldn't read the score.
Yeah, that I couldn't read the score. And actually that puzzled me in a way that it's strange. Why would you ask something like this if you know that if I want I can totally play in an even way? Maybe the first question that people sometimes should address is, a guy who can play normally in an even way if he wants, he's not doing that. So maybe there's something behind that.
That's true. So, but music is emotion.
Yeah. Of course.
In a way, when you play differently, music is something that we think we own.
Yeah, of course.
There was even some guy, and I'm sorry, but that was kind of like ridiculous. He said, the way you play this Andante is an insult to me. That's... I don't know what to say about that. We don't own that music, but we have the impression we own that because we have a relationship with this piece. But what you say is true. Puzzled me as well. If you can say, whatever you want about what we are doing.
Yeah,
but you cannot say that we are two amateurs or even idiots
doing things by chance or because we like in this way.
And so it kind of puzzled me also why. Just ask, just listen, and if you hear your playing, hey, why would you do that? Just ask, and now we're here to explain, because we have an explanation.
So guys, actually I should start from the first time I came here to record very briefly. So the first time that I came to Wim's, he showed me this score that I didn't know about, which is the Kramer Etude score with the annotation made by Beethoven, or I will say signed by Beethoven and written by Schindler.
Yeah, signed by Beethoven.
Just to be precise.
Yeah.
And in this video, of course, we are not gonna talk to them in too much in detail, but I'm gonna anticipate to you a little bit why this score is so important, why these etudes are so important, why Beethoven's annotations are important, and how does that relate to his music. And so what you can actually see in these etudes, of course, for those who know those etudes, it's that Beethoven always suggested kind of a way of accentuating that it's very much based on the long short accent.
It's all about the Greek verses.
Yeah, Greek feet, we will say also, like on the accents.
Let's continue a little bit about the story before going into detail. I took that book from the shelf because when you first came, we had a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah, of course.
Like, of course, you came from the Stein and the modern practice. And so then another chapter for me was like, I want to show you this book, but honestly, I don't know what to do with it, because I've played the Kramer Etudes on clavichord a long time ago, not even following, I think, all the tempo indications, so it was before I started to work with Lorenz. But this book, what Beethoven was writing, puzzled me enormously because you can only interpret that, as I was thinking, in a way that the French doing in equality.
Yeah.
He literally said you have to play uneven. And it's all over the place in every etude.
Yeah. In every etude there are 21 of them that have the annotations.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And so I gave the book to Alberto, said, figure this out. And actually he did.
Guys, it's the work is still not completely done because it's very difficult. These annotations are in German. It's a very kind of difficult German. Yeah, I would say.
And it's just a few a few sentences.
And it's always difficult to translate that in the music language. So what I try to do, it's I actually starting to relate some of these etudes and the notation that you find to some pieces of Beethoven, and there are many similarities. There is an etude that it basically looks like Beethoven borrowed the etude for his Appassionata.
Third movement.
Yeah, for the third movement. And you see that it's exactly structured in the same way. Now, why is that important? That is important because we know even from Schindler, I know that many of us today say that Schindler was whoever he was, okay.
He just happened to know Beethoven for a few years. So.
Yeah. But nevertheless, Schindler makes the case for Beethoven's giving a lot of importance to these Kramer etudes, and Beethoven was not the only one really evaluating these etudes.
Kramer was very important,
as a teaching method to students. And what you find in...
Who was the other one? Chopin gave Kramer etudes. Chopin implemented. Chopin was described when he was first in Paris as nothing to do with this video, like to have a kind of Kramerish technique.
In these etudes, what you find, it's not only technical patterns but also rhythmical patterns, which are extremely important because music from that period, it's still very much based on accentuation. And even if you go to Moschle's diary, Wim has already brought a source a few months ago where Moschle says, I come from a piano playing school that it's very much based on the accentuation, and that is what
the
clarity of that, and that's what you actually find in these etudes. Rhythmical patterns that not always are supposed to be played, let's say, in the way that it's exactly written on the score. So that's something very important that it's underlined in this book. Yeah.
So Kramer indeed was important as an author for these etudes, and they are actually very, very, very nice to play.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that if you go back to the 18th century, then this would be totally normal practice. I mean, perhaps not for fortepiano playing, where we learn to play even scales and things like that, which is, I think, post 1830, 1840ish. It's not in Beethoven's time the case. So if you have a scale of you would play the mode ta 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 ta. So just giving a little accent is inégalité. Ta 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 ta. If you go to a flute player or a violinist, they do that all the time. Pa ta ta tam, pa ta ta tam. So they make these higher notes more important. We on the piano era we play like ta 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 ta. And this piece is particularly Opus 109. When Alberto played it for the first time, we had a long thoughts about this, because if you play it, just sit down behind the keys of your piano and try this in that tempo. Even faster, doesn't matter. If you play just 4/16th note, ta ta ti ta ti ta 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 ti ta ti ta ta ta, it's I mean, it's still the harmonies are still there, but there is nothing that you as a performer makes happen to guide us as a listener. What he did was like da ding dee dum da ding. So emphasizing the first note. You could say, many of you said, this is not written. Yeah, but if you look in the score, then you don't see 4 16th notes. You see in the right hand a 16th note with an 8th note, dotted 8th note with a bow, and in the left hand 2 16th
And
notes
plus,
with a bow.
the right hand has always two voices, because the first note it's in dividing in two voices. There is a
As a
quarter
downstroke.
note.
So
It's a quarter note.
imagine you have in your mind something like dee dum ding dum dee dum ding dum da ding dum. This kind of rhythmical in between. Our Western notation system does not give you the possibility
Yeah.
to do that.
No, you cannot write
So
that.
you can say it's not literally in the score, but it is in the score.
Yeah.
You have to learn to read the score this way, and these grammar etudes are super
crucial,
important for that.
Are crucial, and plus in these grammar etudes, very often it's suggested also a kind of polyphony, even when it's not written.
It's all about accentuation, and accentuation not on. It's actually not in decibels, but
No.
in holding the notes
Yeah,
longer.
it's a matter of timing, guys. That means that you have a long accent, so that means that you put stress on one note that needs to be held for a longer time, a longer value than what's written on the score.
And then we come to the interpretation. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you have this information. In this particular case of the
Yeah.
Opus 109, the G sharp, what you start with, has two functions. Has a 16-note rhythmical function for the upper voice. It has a polyphonic use because it's a
Yeah.
quarter note. It has a bow, and the left hand has two 16th notes, also a bow. Okay, obviously you need to do something with that first 16th note. This is a huge tempo indicator, by the way. You cannot do it faster and do this. Then the question is, how much?
How much? Yeah.
And I'm joking, like you're an Italian guy and everything is opera and drama and everything, but it's a personality. And of course, the more you are a magician, the more you can stretch.
Yeah.
I think your version was right, spot on. If you're not used to hear that, I can also understand that you kind of like say, what are you doing? Because
Yeah.
this is not in the score.
It can be misleading at the beginning, yeah. A
But
little
if you
bit,
know
yeah.
that there is a story behind, there is actually research behind, well, let's not call it research. It's just this what Beethoven
Yeah.
wrote down when he was teaching his nephew, and that was guiding us here, and you will hear it a lot more. If you now know this, go back to the Opus 109 and see what it does with you, because I can imagine the whole concept becomes just accept it for a moment that we knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
And a world will open for you. I think that's the message we wanted to deliver to you today.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you can read notes.
I think I can.
Yeah.
I
We should
think
do
I
it.
can.
Okay, guys. So I hope this was helpful for you, and we will come back to this kind of inequality a lot,
Yeah.
because we are almost only at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
But the first experiments we do, and it's his sonatas now, the last sonatas, you will see that predominantly, because I will hear it in my future recordings too. This is opening so many
Yeah.
possibilities.
Yeah.
And we come back on that. So anything to add?
No, thank you for following us, and please support us as always. We have a Patreon page. They help us to
continue on full speed.
full
We need you guys.
It's
Okay.
one recording every Monday plus a Tom Cruise video on Wednesday. So you don't wanna
Not
miss
every
that,
time, but
certainly.
I can do it more. So thanks for being here with us, guys. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.